The chapter starts with Seo Moon looking at 3-player contracts and trying to gather up 22 of them, and finding the best ones. Just then Haeyeon entered the house and rushed towards Seo Moon. She asked him why he is working so hard. He told her that her mother is worried about her as she was much busier than him. Just then, he saw a simplified book for learning French in Haeyeon's hands. He asked her about it. She said that she had cleared the Korean selections for the European Battlefield Games and she needs to clear the physical tests in Paris, that's why she's learning French. She also asked him to join her in France. Jake Land, a superhuman who's also the European Battlefield agent, explains to Haeyeon and Seo Moon that Haeyeon has the current highest kilo count and she's the best melee dealer in Korea. She's been selected for the Paris Lumiere. Also, the Moto brothers had invited her mother to France as well and are asking for Seo Moon to join them as they have a present for him. Seo Moon thought to himself that it could be the main weapon that they told him to give him from their workshop. But Seo Moon declined this offer, saying that he's too busy to go as he's been recruiting new players for his team. Jake asked him if he needs any help, but Seo Moon declined, saying that it's a local team he's building and also he's running low on funds. Jake suggested he go to France as Haeyeon's translator and look for some players there. The Korean government allows up to 5 foreign players in a team. In this way, he can help Haeyeon and also get some 7 players from there at a low price. Seo Moon gave it a thought and agreed to it. The 3 of them had arrived at Paris airport but then suddenly got surrounded by a group of reporters. While looking for a way out, Seo Moon noticed one of the Moro brothers standing at the gate for them. He welcomed them and asked Seo Moon if he could give an interview to these reporters now, as they are here. Seo Moon realized that this is his trick to gain more publicity, but he can't do anything rash here, so he went for the interview. The reporters soaked him if he was also participating in the Paris Lumiere. Yo he said that he's here just to cheer her niece. Then a reporter asked him if he was going to meet his partner Eric Thuram from the 7 Heroes. To this, he said that his trip is short, but if Eric is in Paris, he'll look forward to it. Eric was watching this interview. He rushed out as soon as he realized that Seo Moon is in Paris. He jumped out in the ocean and swam towards France as he was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. At the Paris Lumiere clubhouse, the Moro brothers invited them and asked Seo Moon to have a contract and to play from their side. He declined the offer and told them to take care of Haeyeon, who was playing instead of him. They assured him about it and asked Seo Moon to give the physical test along with Haeyeon, and as expected Seo Moon said no. On the other hand, Haeyeon's physical test had just started. She had equipped her gears and is now ready for the test. Her goal is to defeat all the monsters in 1 minute. The test started. Haeyeon used her quick abilities to cut through all the monsters in just 22 seconds, making a new record for this test. The Moro brothers were astonished by her performance and asked her to sign the contract immediately. Seo Moon thought to himself about her stats, as he had prepared the best prescription for her. She's only lacking in strength and endurance, but it'll be prepared by the coaches of this place. As he was thinking all this, a man appears. Seo Moon got a flashback of his time on the battlefield where he heard that there cannot be many people who are as fast as Jiho in his prime. He had remembered this man. He is Nathan Burner. The chapter starts with a flashback to 2005 after Seo Moon Yob and the 7 Heroes completed their raid on the last dungeon. Many superhumans took retirement, but then a sport called Battlefield came to rise. There was a very frequent question that was asked, after Seo Moon, who's the strongest superhuman? There were countless debates that took place around that question, but in every debate one name was common: Nathan Burner. He's the ace of the French national team, the best player of the world's 3rd-string EAT team, the Paris Lumiere, and the 3-time Player of the Year award winner. B entered the room and told the Moro brothers that he was there to meet Seo Moon and also to welcome his new teammate. He created Seo Moon in a polite way, but the position of his hands made Seo Moon think that he was planning a sneak attack on him. Seo Moon became perplexed as Nathan grabbed him and hugged him instead of attacking. Nathan said that he was very happy to meet him, and Seo Moon also praised his skills. All of his stats are around 90 except endurance, and his superpower clone is also a pretty broken ability to begin with. He can make a clone of him with 50% of his aura to have half of his stats transferred into a second body. He can also regain 30% aura by just merging the clone with himself. Seo Moon thought that a fight of Nathan going up against Geared Walker would be interesting to watch, as Walker also has strength and endurance of 100. Nathan asked him if he had met Gerard after his fight with him. The Moro brothers asked him about the fight. Seo Moon told them that he didn't kill him but he won the fight. Nathan was dumbstruck. He asked Seo Moon if it is really possible to beat Walker in a one-on-one fight too. This Seo Moon replied that he was only human so it was not impossible. Nathan never imagined that there cannot be a man who can beat Walker in a one-on-one match, but if Seo Moon had defeated him then he really should fight Seo Moon. Haeyeon and her mother are going shopping with Nathan escorting them. As they left, the Moro brothers took Seo Moon to their workshop to give him the gift they wanted to give. In the workshop, there were many fine weapons. The twins gave Seo Moon spears his main weapon and asked him to put his aura into it. When he did, the spear extended. It made him happy to see some new technology put into making the spear. The Moro brothers told him that they'll be using these spears to sponsor him along with 1.5 million euros per year for 5 years and 3 million euros for each official and unofficial match he'll play. With all these offers, Seo Moon couldn't resist himself and accepted this deal for the betterment of his team. The chapter starts with Seo Moon signing the contract with the Moro brothers. He was asked to properly read the contract. The brothers reminded him that he have to take care of the weapon provided to him and he cannot discard it. Also, the weapons made for superhumans can only be used by battlefield players. Seo Moon told them that he can get past these old customs, but the brothers told him that they respect the customs, and for that, he had to become a battlefield player. Seo Moon realized that this was a trap laid by the brothers to make him a battlefield player from their country. The brothers told him that it was a business tactic they just used and Seo Moon fell for it even after knowing that something fishy is happening behind the scenes. They told him how much money they've spent on his items in the auction 17 years ago. Haeyeon arrived and asked why her uncle is sad. He told her the whole story and she became happy as Seo Moon is officially a pro player now. Nathan arrived on the scene and asked Seo Moon about his new weapon and asked him to test it out in the mock battle training room with him. Looking at Nathan's competitive nature, Seo Moon agreed to have a battle with him. On the next day, at the Paris Lumiere clubhouse, Haeyeon and Seo Moon went to the training room where the other team members were practicing. Haeyeon was nervous but Seo Moon comforted her. The players of the French team noticed Seo Moon standing there. The tank of the team came to Seo Moon. He was the tall guy to which Seo Moon thought is dangerous, but he asked Seo Moon to sign on his jersey. He was a big fan of Seo Moon. Seo Moon introduced Haeyeon to him and asked him to treat her well. As he was going, Seo Moon analyzed his stats. They were monstrous. All of his stats are 2-level lead and his superpowers were also regeneration, immunity to illness and curses along with a third ability called the Blessing of Venture which Seo Moon didn't understand. Just then Nathan arrived on the scene and explained about the third ability of Church Lucas. He ran a charity that protects wildlife and trees and his ability is also somewhat related to nature and trees. Seo Moon asked Nathan why he seemed so happy. Nathan told him that his dream of exceeding the world's strongest superhuman is about to become true. He became sad when he knew that this dream of his cannot become true as Seo Moon had died, but now he had returned and he has a chance to make it true. Seo Moon accepted his challenge and told him that he was not gonna hold back. Just then the Moro brothers arrived with the coach of the Paris Lumiere team, Dubious Gopin. He told Seo Moon that normally Nathan and Chich make the teams, but this time he had to make a team against Nathan. With 11 players in both teams, their battle begins. The chapter starts with both teams facing each other in the training temple. They're given 60 seconds to make a strategy. Seo Moon starts the game plan with Chich as their main tank. He had also assigned a sub-tank and a frontline tank. Their strategy is to act around their frontline tank while Chich shows aggressive attack gameplay. Seo Moon will go for Nathan while the others remain with their frontline tank. Chich told Seo Moon that this is what their casual brawl strategy looks like and he had also picked the players accordingly as if he knows how the team plays. Seo Moon analyzed Nathan. He will use twin daggers. Seo Moon knew this tactic where the dominant hand is the main attacking unit and the other one provides support. Most of the time the attack pattern of twin dagger users is similar so he's just gonna analyze and attack afterward. As he was analyzing Nathan, the countdown to the match began. The coach of the team told the Moro brothers that it would be difficult for Seo Moon to win against Nathan as his dagger movements are unpredictable as well as his cloning powers. Seo Moon could die even before he realized Nathan's attack patterns. The coach is planning to promote Nathan as the player who defeated the world's strongest superhuman. The match begins with the clash between the tanks of the two teams. Nathan is trying to close the distance between him and Seo Moon, as he will be in a dangerous spot if the distance between them increases. Nathan used his speed to attack Seo Moon from above, but Seo Moon defended this attack using his shield. Nathan jumped back and dashed towards Seo Moon again and attacked him repeatedly, because if he gave him any time it would work against him. Seo Moon blocked all the attacks using his shield and spear. Just then Nathan noticed an opening in the defensive pattern of Seo Moon. He went for it, but Seo Moon single-handedly blocked his attack. Nathan realized that Seo Moon showed him the opening on purpose, just to mock him. As Nathan was thinking of using his speed against Seo Moon attacked him. Nathan dodged the attack, but then Seo Moon rushed towards Nathan with his spear. Nathan was dodging his attacks. Seo Moon had maintained a distance in which he can swiftly attack with both his shield and spear, while Nathan can't even move out of his attack range. Nathan realized that Seo Moon is again showing him some fake openings, which he can't attack. It would be impossible for Nathan to defeat Seo Moon alone, so he pulled out his trump card clone. But Seo Moon is ready for it. The chapter starts with the coach and the Moto brothers praising Seo Moon's spearmanship. Even without bringing rain for fighting humans to fight and have an upper hand on a player who had only trained to fight humans is pretty impressive. But now that Nathan had used his clone, the tables will turn and it will not be easy even for Seo Moon to win against him. Both Nathan and his clone charged towards Seo Moon. One attacked him and the other went behind him, but Seo Moon blocked both of their attacks. Nathan and his clone tried to hit him hundreds of times, but Seo Moon blocked every single one of them and he's still standing. But the drag marks on the ground are telling him that whatever he is doing has some effect, even if it's just a little. On the other hand, Seo Moon is tired of this. He underestimated Nathan. His superpower is superior to Seo Moon's, also his power had increased exponentially. He is in perfect synchronization with his clone. There is only one way by which he had a chance to defeat Nathan, but that too had a huge risk. Seo Moon had made up his mind and is now ready to take the risk. Nathan dashed towards Seo Moon, trying to stab him with his dagger, but he dodged and tried to attack Nathan. Just then Nathan used his clone to cut down Seo Moon's right arm. Looking at this situation, everyone watching this fight became astonished and had expected Nathan to be the victor of this fight. Just then Seo Moon told Nathan that he was sure about Nathan trying to attack him without even thinking, and that will give him the opportunity to use his shield on the left arm to finish him off. With all his might Seo Moon hit the ground with his shield, but Nathan dodged his attack and stabbed his dagger in Seo Moon's face. He was stopped by Chich as the game was over and Seo Moon's team had won. After the game, Nathan asked Seo Moon if he had given up on his arm on purpose. To this Seo Moon replied that it was his truck to make an opening. Nathan told him that it was a foolish decision made by him and he had played for it. The coach along with the Moro brothers arrived on the scene and told them how good of a fight it was. They also have another round to play so they can settle their scores there. Seo Moon asked the coach if he can improve his performance if he can watch this battle one time to know more about Nathan's gameplay. The coach agreed to this and took Seo Moon and Haeyeon to their game analysis room. There Seo Moon met Gabriel Sana, the head coach of the Paris Lumiere team. Seo Moon saw his stats and they were weak for a player's level. He asked Gabriel how they're gonna review the game. Gabriel told him that they are going to use an advanced method of analysis called the superhuman analysis system, or S.A.S in short. It is an expensive system which is available in the market for around 2.5 million euros, and only highly skilled professionals can use this. Every big club at this time is using S.A.S, and its benefits can be observed easily. Seo Moon thought to himself that it would be very beneficial for him to have a SAS for his team as it will help them improve more. But he doesn't want to spend 2.5 million on an analysis machine. Seo Moon asked the Moro brothers if they are up to a deal. He will give them his battle data in exchange for the SAS and a trained professional who can use it properly. They agreed to it as they can't let this chance slip by. This decision made both the Moro brothers and Seo Moon happy. Seo Moon told them that the next battle is going to be much more interesting. The chapter starts with Seo Moon thinking about the decisions he had made in France. Looking back at his battle with Nathan, he realized that it was a pretty fresh experience for him to fight against a human for the first time. He looks at his stats, they were almost max leveled, and with the stats there was a new superpower called Amplify which can improve any talent by plus 10 points. People have limited knowledge about superpowers, but the birth of superhumans became constant. They are based on a person's nature or can be achieved when their aura reacts to extreme circumstances. One year before escaping from the orphanage, Seo Moon came out at night, picked up a rock, and aimed it toward the director of the orphanage. They threw the rock at the director's car and it got crashed. In this way, Seo Moon took his revenge and the superpower throw. The scene shifts to the training room where the match is about to start in 5 minutes. Seo Moon was trying to figure out how he got this new power. It could be when he was fighting Nathan, as it was also an extreme experience. He can use this ability to amplify his strength or speed stats, which can change his whole game plan. As Seo Moon was thinking all this, he was called out by Haeyeon. He told her that he didn't notice her on the battlefield. She told her that she died after one support as she became greedy and went for a kill. She asked him about the second round as Nathan is a pretty tough player. Seo Moon told her that he'll be fine as he was pretty strong himself and that arm cut thing was a trick of his. Now he's ready for the next battle. Both teams took their positions and the countdown begins. The match starts with the tanks exchanging blows against each other. Seo Moon took the opportunity to amplify his speed stat. He provoked Nathan to attack him. Nathan was smart enough and he did not lower his guard, but suddenly Seo Moon threw his spear. Bath ATM can dodge that easily, but the spear's acceleration increased up to a level where Nathan couldn't think of anything but jumping out of its way. This was Seo Moon's plan from the start. He changed the spear's trajectory and killed. This took Nathan by surprise, as in all of his studies he had never seen Seo Moon doing something like this. Also, since his clone is dead, he is now left on a 30% aura, which drags his performance to a greater extent. To complement his missing aura and dead clone, Nathan rushed back to his team. This was a wise decision according to Seo Moon as well, but since his speed had increased, he caught up to him and prepared his spear for the final blow to send Nathan out of the game, and with this, the chapter ended. The chapter starts with Nathan asking Seo Moon if he's gonna play in the third round as well because Nathan lost 2 chances to defeat Seo Moon. To this, Seo Moon replied that this will be the last chance for him. The third game starts. Nathan activates his clone without wasting any time. He was determined as this is his only chance to defeat Seo Moon and became the world's strongest superhuman. But Seo Moon is also ready for it as he had already understood Nathan's irregular attack patterns, his movement speed, and his joint attacks with his clone. He provoked Nathan. Nathan with his clone dashed towards him. One from the front and the other from behind, they both attacked Seo Moon. He blocked their attacks, but it was dangerous for him to not do anything. Seo Moon activated his amplifying ability and increased his speed. There are only 2 things Seo Moon could do at this moment. 1. Stay still and defend, but it'll make him isolated. 2. Keep moving and dodging their attacks. This will help him in remaining away from both of them as well as wasting up their stamina, by which their performance will be affected adversely. Seo Moon took the second route, but still due to his insane speed, Nathan was catching up to him very quickly. To school him off, Seo Moon jumped in between the enemy team and started defeating their players. Nathan became impatient as he saw this and rushed onto Seo Moon, but Seo Moon threw 2 spears on both of them. They dodged the spears, but the 2 players of enemy team standing behind them got killed instead. Seo Moon told him that it was not bad to use his speed, but to look around the surroundings is more important, as they were blocking the field of vision of their teammates. The head coach of the team realized how Seo Moon is playing the game and having an upper hand on Nathan. He's using tactics to make Nathan impatient and is attacking at the right moment. The coach still has his hopes up for Nathan, but Gabriel didn't agree with him as Seo Moon's changed movements from game 1 are pretty noticeable, along with his top-level spearmanship. As Nathan tries to attack with his clone, he got countered by Seo Moon. Seo Moon was dodging Nathan's every attack. Both the coaches and the Moro brothers are surprised by this performance. Seo Moon is using both his spear and the shield to attack Nathan and to make the distance between them. This is preventing Nathan to attack properly. All this change in Seo Moon's gameplay made Nathan realize that the man he is fighting right now is not an ordinary superhuman. He is the man who saved humanity, the immortal who returned alive after 17 years, and now he's in front of him. Nathan has realized that there's no way for him to win this battle. Still, he didn't have up and charged towards Seo Moon again, but the outcome was destined. After the game, Seo Moon praised Nathan and told him that he was better than he expected, and he also surpasses Gerald Walker. He gave him advice to work more on his strength stat. This will make him much stronger. The coach arrived and told them that their match was fascinating, and he Seo Moon how he handled Nathan's double clone attacks. Seo Moon knew that this happened only because of his amplified stats, but he didn't tell them about it. As Seo Moon was taking his leave, he realized that Haeyeon didn't perform well in the practice matches. She hasn't acquired a single kill in all 3 matches. Seo Moon cheered her up. She didn't take this loss by heart and told him that the next time he meet her, she would become a great player. With all things set, Seo Moon took his leave to do more experimentations on his new ability Amplify. Seo Moon tried to amplify his superpower Eyes of Analysis. By this amplification, he can now see the leadership and strategy stats, and the analysis can be seen in a video as well. Next, he amplified his throw, and by this amplification, the range and speed of the thrown object can be controlled. Also, it can be retrieved back. Seo Moon tested this one by throwing a toothbrush. Even though it uses aura, it's quite a handy ability to have, as he doesn't need to retrieve his spears anymore. For the amplification of his last superpower Immortal, he is a bit tensed as he himself doesn't know what it could result in. He amplified Immortal and an aura started coming out of his hands. Seo Moon is now immune to all attacks. His body is now made up of aura for 120 seconds. Also, he can now move through matter. Seo Moon tested it out by flying through the walls, and he was thinking about its offensive abilities. He sensed the presence of an underworlder. He became super happy as he can now test out his newfound powers. He rushed towards him and threw his spear at the underworld on the Eiffel Tower. He was not dead by that single hit. So Seo Moon flew toward it to cop den up the distance, just to realize that 120 seconds have passed and now he was returning to his normal physical form. He rushed back to his room to prevent the fall and succeeded. But he's furious about the cooldown time. Also, he's unable to sense the presence of the underworld anymore. The scene shifts to the underworld back to his master. He told him that he was hit by a spear and got badly injured, but the Lord didn't hear any of his excuses and killed him. He said that it's not the time to act as he is waiting for the arrival of the light of the beginning. The chapter starts with Seo Moon practicing aura projection again. This time he realizes that while in the aura mode, he is invincible to all attacks, and he can attack as he wishes. Also, he realized that he is unable to feel the presence of the underworld energy. He cannot let this incident pass as the spear he threw was missing. Gabriel Sana was introduced by the Moro brothers as the professional who was going to handle the SAS for Seo Moon. Seo Moon used his Eyes of Analysis to look at the stats of Gabriel. He noticed that his leadership and strategy stats are very high, and he is having focus as his superpower, which makes him one of the best choices for the coach of the Paris Lumiere team. Gabriel said that he had arrived in Korea not only just to use the SAS, but to observe Seo Moon's abilities and gameplay. Since Gabriel came from Paris risking his career, Seo Moon offered him to be his team's main coach, but Gabriel said that he had one more condition. To benefit his career, Gabriel want the YSM to be Korea's best team within 1 year, and for that, he proposed an offer to Seo Moon which he accepted. The Moore brothers took their picture and uploaded it on their social media handles. They told him that they are the official sponsors for his weapon and this was something that we can do for promotional purposes. They didn't stop at that and kept on uploading pictures of Seo Moon with the Paris Lumiere team. After, sometimes, the news of Seo Moon joining the Paris Lumiere team as an official battlefield player also arrived, which made the rivals of this team worried. One of the strongest rivals of the Paris Lumiere was the team of Germany, which was led by Emre Casa, one of the 7 heroes. The scene changes to the game analysis room of the YSM where the players are looking at Gabriel, who's handling the installation of the SAS. They said that no one in Korea knows how to handle this system and they're eager to use it. Seo Moon arrived at the scene and gathered up the players. He told them about his trip to France and how he managed to take Coach Gabriel with him. He asked them to give him respect and the introduction session started. Gabriel told them that his goal is to make the YSM the champions of the Tier 1 league and for that he wants them to follow his game plan. Also, the owner of the club will play with them in 3 matches in 1 year. And with this, their training under the command of Coach Gabriel started. With his training, the improvement in the team's condition can be seen, but according to Coach Gabriel, there is a weak point in the team's Sungo. He had some useful superpowers, but most of its stats are underdeveloped. Seo Moon looked through it and noticed that the limit for his strategy and leadership stats is very high. He has the potential for growth in him. They both discussed the players and the team management done by Seo Moon, but there was also one player whose stats were pretty basic and his superpower is also very limited. Gabriel asked him why he had chosen this player for the team. Seo Moon told him that he'll know when his aura will increase by 1 and reaches 70. Seo Moon knew that his hidden superpower Shadow Steps will get activated and he will be his team's lottery ticket for the victory. The chapter starts with Gabriel in furious mode as he was looking at the current training plan of the YSM. According to him, it's a miracle that the team is still surviving on this training plan. He dumped the current plan and told them that they were going to rebuild the foundation of the team before the second season of Battlefield started. The second training session starts. The speed test. It was hard for the players, but the team's captain motivated the slower players and told them that the Paris Lumiere team goes through this type of training every day, so they must give their 100% to have a chance to win the championship. Coach Gabriel, in his office, was observing the performance of the selected 5 players. These 5 players had shown exponential growth in their performance as compared to the players of any other team. These 5 people include 1. Ro Younghwan, the captain of the team. 2. The melee dealer Namon Jihun, 3-4. The fastest members of the team Lee Naeon and Cho Sungo 5. The newly transferred tank of this team Choi Hyuk. With these 5 and Seo Moon himself, victory will be easy, but it's still unclear why Seo Moon chose Choi Hyuk to be a tank instead of a melee dealer, which he was. Just then, from the SAS coach Gabriel noticed that Hyuk has a second passive ability, and this may be the reason why Seo Moon put him as a tank. On the other hand, BM was sitting on the ground depressed about his performance. Seo Moon arrived and asked him why he was feeling low. He told him that he is the most useless player on the team and that his superpower is also not very effective. Seo Moon told him that he can improve and evolve it with training. Seo Moon took him to the mountains where he had developed an aura training method that would help BM. The increment in the aura stat requires different conditions for different people. Seo Moon told him about his past in the orphanage and told him that everyone can overcome the difficulties in their lives and it only requires courage. With this, Seo Moon showed him a cave deep down in the ground. He told him that this will be his training grounds for the next 10 days and he threw him into the cave. Seo Moon also took his phone and told him that if he tried to come out the consequences will be unfavorable for him. In the cave, BM is depressed as he cannot do anything in a place like this. He then remembered the time when Seo Moon recruited him for the YSM. Seo Moon told him that his superpower has the potential to make him a world-class player. With all of this in his mind, he started focusing on his aura. 10 days had passed. Seo Moon asked BM to come out of the cave. BM came out and saw that it was not Seo Moon but a security camera and Seo Moon is the other side of it. He told BM that he had to master his newfound superpower before the second season of Battlefield starts as it'll be his first time playing as the core player of the team. The chapter starts with a countdown. Only 31 days are left before the start of the second season of Battlefield. Seo Moon entered the club. There's a lot of noise and phone calls. Seo Moon reached Coach Gabriel and asked him about the ruckus. Gabriel told him that other teams are trying to recruit Lee Naeon. Even an Eastern country offered $5 million for the pair of Naeon and Sungo. Seo Moon was surprised by hearing this amount. Gabriel asked him if he's gonna sell them. He replied that he'll not sell them for such a cheap price. Sungo also holds a very valuable position in the team, that's why they cannot trade him off like that. Seo Moon told Coach Gabriel that they need to change the player positions for the next game as he introduces Yoon BM to him. Seo Moon told him that he got his lottery ticket. The scene shifts to the tournament stadium as it's the beginning day of the second season of Battlefield. The first match is between YSM and GT Knights. The core player of YSM, Yoon BM, was introduced and everyone is having high hopes for him as the club owner Seo Moon Yob himself had scouted him. Everyone's excited about this match. 10 minutes before starting the match, Coach Gabriel told BM that the 5 core members of this team make a perfect composition which includes 1 tank, 2 melee dealers, 1 ranged dealer, and 1 support player with 3 superpowers. BM's job is to lead this team. Before starting the match, the location and dungeon type is explained. The first match will take place in the Reverse Forest. This dungeon has a huge glowing tree hanging upside down. Ore-eating monsters, called Jardins, are found near the glowing tree. They attack from above and below. Jardins become stronger as they get nearer to the tree. The main boss of the dungeon is the glowing tree itself, which is said to be made up of specialized Jardins who had absorbed an extensive amount of aura. The GT Knights are splitting in a 4-4-3 formation where the YSM is divided into 2 teams of 5 to 5 players. But suddenly Yoon BM left his group and moved alone. Everyone including to commentators is surprised to see him running alone into the forest. On the other hand, the first division of the GT Knights was trying to kill the Jardins while they got attacked by Neon's arrows. They dodged the arrows and the detector of their team located Sungo's location. Eliminating Sungo is their first priority. When they reached Sungo, they realized that they had made a big mistake. It was the captain of the team Choi Hyuk. He was disguised as a tank to corner the enemies. He threw a bag full of Jardin seeds, which the team had collected while they were hunting. Actually, the hunting game was just an act to collect the seed, and now, with the seed absorbing the aura of the first unit of the enemy team, their movement is restricted. YSM took this chance and attacked the opponents. Choi Hyuk took 2 kills and Choi Young-min took 1. The news of the first division getting ambushed reached the ears of the other 2 divisions. The third division with 3 players was currently engaged in a battle with a strong Jardin. One of them was taken up by the vine of the Jardin. The other one cut through the Jardin and saved his teammate. He told the other 2 that they are regrouping and told them to come fast, but the one he saved just now did not move. He reached him and yelled at him only to realize that he had been killed by Yoon Beom. They didn't even notice his presence as he was moving through the shadows. Beom emerged from the shadow behind them and took another player of the GT